Greetings, my excellent friend.
Welcome to Heavy Metal
History.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. Before I get started, I just want to let you know I recorded this about a week ago with Chris. It was kind of a last-minute thing, not last-minute thing, so we kind of rushed into it, didn't do an intro, and on top of that, we had a ton of sound problems on his end. So hopefully it's not too bad. You can still make everything out. He tells a lot of cool fucking stories about the band and the record and everything we talked about. So hopefully just bear with us this week on the sound. It's not always like this, but sometimes things happen. There's a lot of interesting things. So as usual, thank you for everything and enjoy this week's episode of the Heavy Metal History Podcast. Well, first of all, Chris, thank you for doing this, man. I appreciate your time, and it's been forever since we've talked or seen each other, so this is cool that I got you on the podcast here.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I'm glad to do this.
Cool. And second of all, how does it feel having an album that's 10 years old now?
Man, time flies so fast, man. Seriously. Makes me feel old. Especially last tour we did, in the States in 2013, when the bands were like, man, I used to listen to you when I was 12, man. It's like, fuck, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man, 2013, really. Damn it, that's so long ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, man.
So, I guess just to kind of get into it, take us through kind of the writing and recording process of the album. We're definitely really interested in that side of it. So, like, who did what, how long did it take you guys, all that kind of stuff. Whatever you want to talk about.
All right, cool. Well, basically, once I guess what was it? Evidence of Iniquity came out.
Yes.
There was quite a good buzz at that time, and then that's where we got a contract with Prosthetic Records, and that's basically where it all started. And then I think it was just before we started touring. Keep in mind, this is 10 years ago. Maybe the chronology won't be perfect. But,
no worries, man.
So we wanted to make a full length to start touring with prosthetics. So I started writing. We just got like a new jam room and / studio, so that gave me a space to write. And yeah, I remember staying in that little space, man, and writing riffs after riffs and. It's all on my computer, man, and showing that to Elia. He'd come up with vocals. We worked structures together, and because I'm like a good riff, I'll write riffs, and but where I'm lazy and have a lot of trouble is all structuring everything. So where it goes better is with me and Elliot together, and he has a vocalist perspective about it, so he'll put his input and see this would go better there, and then cool, man. And that's how we basically write songs normally, and that's how it was with Mechanics. But it was fairly fast, because if you compare it to maybe other CDs we wrote, I remember the 10 songs, man, didn't take that long, I think, to write compared to really the other CDs.
Okay.
I was actually listening to it today, man. I was some stuff in there I totally forgot, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I could see that happening. What's crazy, man, is just kind of to go back to the EP as well. I remember the first time I heard that, I was at some party, and some friends of mine threw it on, and they were playing, Jesus, the song's gonna slip my mind now, but it's the one with just the opening sweep arpeggios going crazy.
The good lullaby for the born dead.
Yeah. I remember everybody at that party just flipping their shit over that song, just being like, what the fuck? How does this guy play like that? It was insane, man. And I don't think we stopped listening to that thing until the full-length album came out.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, see, back then, though, that was what I was trying to do is to incorporate leads into riffs, which today is everywhere, but back then it wasn't as common, I think.
No, it definitely wasn't. I agree with you on that.
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, there was yeah, it was basically like what, like rhythm riffs, and then there would be the leads that come in. But I wanted to like incorporate the shred in the riffs.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because I also was like, what I didn't like about shred guitar was like you would be like the basic like three chords, and then they would go nuts. So it'd be boring, 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 and then like shred. But I want to keep you interested the whole time if you were into like that type of guitar playing.
Yeah.
So that's how I was. My approach was to writing back then. Well, still is today, I guess.
So when you guys were writing Mechanics, you were saying that you and Elliot were pretty close together. Um, did he come up with the lyrics after you had already written the guitar stuff, and that's how he did that, or did he kind of have some stuff beforehand and you wrote around what he had a little bit?
Well, like Elliot likes to write. Um, well, this is another thing. If you want to go really deep in the lyrics, you can maybe have him on the show as well too, maybe to get in detail. But I know how he likes to do it. Normally, he likes to have like a CD concept and then like write songs out of that. So he'll have like themes, and then he'll fit them on the songs. But I mean, I write the songs first,
Okay.
and he'll start maybe like the lyrics, and he does it like all tempo wise first before even writing the words. Like he knows exactly how many syllables he wants for every riff, and then with his concepts about whatever he's writing on in each song, he'll try to make it fit with the syllables. So it's quite a process. He doesn't just write a text and try to break up the words and the riffs. So like he breaks up the actual syllables first, and then he'll write the songs out of it. Make sure he has the exact syllables he wants.
Yeah, I got to imagine that's a pretty difficult way of writing, but also, what works best for him too. And especially like since you already have the guitar parts written out, it only makes sense to kind of like have the patterns match that.
Yeah, but like I said, he that's one of the reasons why he likes to get into the like the structuring of everything, because you'll like, hey man, can you put like one note more there, one time there, or something, or how about if you like cut it there, and like we did that multiple times. Like, oh yeah, cool. Like I said, a lot of it's on the computer, man. Slice here, like copy paste there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
It's like, oh, different. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's something we kind of talk about quite a bit on the podcast is like how bands record stuff because, a lot of times we get to in the early days where it was all on like reel-to-reel and 24 whatever.
Yeah, 24 track tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was no Pro Tools. Like if you stuffed up, you would essentially have to go back and do it all over again.
Yeah. How we did it was Cubase, but unlike all the bands today, Mechanics and Evidence of Iniquity were both done with no click tracks. So and you can hear it too. Like I was listening to them, I was like, oh, it's hard to listen to a CD without a click these days, man. It sounds so weird.
Really? I don't really notice that, but that's interesting that
I can notice right away. Like you can feel sometimes it slows down, sometimes, and just imagine it was the same principle as how we track today. It all starts on the click, and then everybody like quantizes and riff per riff or even note per note on every click hit. But we were trying to do this. Well, how Yannick Saint-Amand, who recorded it, how he would do it, would do the same principle but with no click track. So basically, I would record with the drummer the riffs, but we wouldn't take the guitar takes, only the drum takes, and then I would have to re-record my riffs over the drums that were like not exactly always in time. So that was kind of tricky, man.
Okay, yeah. That does sound... Yeah, because I was wondering that too, if you guys recorded everything separate.
Yeah, it's the same principle, but with no click. So it's like trying to quantize everything on the drum that isn't quantized, but still edited. He would use the hi-hat, which would be his main like... I don't know, like his grid basically, and you would try to make that as solid as possible, and then I'd follow that, and thinking about it today, it sounds like a nightmare, man. I wouldn't, I could few bands, and I would never want to do it like that, man. Never, never. Just fuck, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's good
So
technology.
you did mention Yannick, and he did actually record this album, if I'm not mistaken. How did you guys get hooked up with him? Was he just like a friend through the scene, or was it something that you guys wanted to reach out to the label with, or?
Well, see, when our first CD was with Galley Records, but Galley Records at that time was working with Alex Area, which is in Despise Icon, which is all like it's all connected in the Montreal scene here, and Yannick was in Despise at the beginning, so when we said we wanted to record, Alex hooked us up with Yannick. But that's another thing back then, which isn't like these days, man. Finding a producer, man, was so much harder than these days. Now these days, you can find everybody has a Pro Tools or a Cubase on their computer, and they have a basic knowledge on like tracking and editing, quantizing, all that stuff. But back then, man, I remember still trying to find because we wanted our first release, Evidence of Iniquity, like to punch in people's face. But man, we didn't want to sound like a demo because we had bands before that. Every time we track, man, it was like, dude, we can't hear the kick because it wasn't quantized once again, and it was like more raw. So now these days with the drum sampling and back then it was Easy Drummer, man. So I was listening to the kick again, and like, dude, it's totally Easy Drummer, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. One thing I've always wanted to know as well, especially with bands like yourselves, Despise.com, especially Cryptopsy, what is it about Montreal and technical death metal that all of you guys essentially seem to come out of the same city?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I remember being being in high school and reading about you guys and reading about getting into all of this. It always seems like this one type of music always came out of this one city, and I always found that was fascinating.
I don't know. Maybe I can't answer that because even today we have great bands coming out, but I don't know. Maybe people just so I don't know. Seriously, I don't have a good answer for that.
Yeah.
I just chalk it up to the frigid weather, man. It's like,
oh yeah, like
it breeds a certain kind of music in people up there.
Get born in winter and have nothing else to do than play with our guitars on our computers.
Right?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But I seriously I couldn't answer that, man. I don't know. I couldn't answer that. Sounds
that's fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So, how long did it take you guys to record the whole thing? Like a couple weeks, couple months?
Mechanics, man, that's another thing. Yannick moved up north, which is close to Rouyn-Noranda. I know back then it was actually in Rouyn-Noranda, which is for people who don't know, like 5-6 hours north of Montreal, which is like it's pretty high north, man.
Yeah, I remember being there. We did like a show up there when I was on the tour with you guys. Probably the coldest I've ever been in my entire life.
Exactly. So yeah, that's actually one of the coldest temperatures we felt there. Was like I don't know how much. I think it was like minus. I don't know. It was really fucking cold, man.
Yeah, it was bad. I think I remember like minus 30 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was insane. Yeah, and there's nothing up there either.
Yeah. So yeah, we went. Man, even thinking about that again is like, fuck, man. We were like intense, man. We I remember it was I think it was June or May. And we went there for 3 weeks, a month. And that's what I did for the whole time. I stayed at this place. I remember I had a small room. I slept on the floor in a sleeping bag. In the morning, we'd go at the studio. I was there from the start to the end, basically. Maybe not all the vocals, but I think I was. Because I'm mixing a bit with like Dystopia, which was the same type of deal. And yeah, we went up north. We stayed at his place. In the morning, we go to the studio. I was there at the beginning because I had to do like the drums. Like I said, I had to play with the drummer since I didn't have all of my shit tracks done on a click. So we had to do like song per song with the drummer. So and then we had to be there I had to be there to really like make sure the drums were like we wanted on the riffs. I think Elio was there too, so we were 3.
Okay.
And then my brother, who's the bassist, came down, and after I finished my guitars, he did his parts. I think he went back afterwards, and then we stayed to do the vocals. So I think it was like 3 weeks to a month. It was pretty intense. Like a week maybe for drums, another week for like 12 days for guitars. Because I actually wrote a song in the studio there, because we were missing like a material. We had like 9 songs. Like, fuck, it's not long enough. We want it to be at least half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote it. It was Stench of Misery. I wrote on the spot, man.
Holy shit, that's
Oh,
amazing.
jeez.
I know, man. I wrote it one night, and then the next day I just added like 2 or 3 riffs, and that was it, man. It's fucked up, man.
You know, it's
I listened
funny.
to it. Cool, man. It's not as cool as the other ones, but man, I don't know. It works.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's funny too, man, like how often we kind of read about when bands are in the studio and they think they have enough material and then they're kind of like at that final hour and they're like, "Oh shit, we just need like one more song." And then like, it just comes out of nowhere and then bam, you got your other song and you're good to go. Happens pretty often. It's pretty cool that I mean, you guys are professional musicians, so it's not like terribly hard for you, but you also want to make sure you write like a good song and not just a filler song.
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be sort of a filler, but we ended up playing it like live often. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it was like more raw. I don't know. Not as sometimes that's what happens if you overthink something. Then it's like it's never ending. But yeah, I still remember that night. I was thinking, calculating the breakdown. I was like, okay, cool. And the next day, it just worked out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what man, I remember when we were staying with you up there, what were you guys working on the EP then? The one
Yeah.
after Dystopia before um
Yeah, probably on the road, the tours before the EP. I remember I was writing songs and riffs because I always bring my laptop on tour because there's a lot of dead time, as you know. It's like
yeah,
what 0.1% playing shows and all the rest is dead time and driving. So
seriously.
I even remember like writing riffs in the van in the back on our mattress. Yep, remember that. So yeah, I was right. Yeah, I was writing Marée Noire during
Yeah,
that time.
that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, see that was a concept album, like I was saying with the vocals at that time, there was like that oil spill that was never ending.
Hmm.
Like fuck, man. And that was the concept about like how we can fuck shit up, man. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
that whole EP is fucking killer, man. I remember like
different.
when you guys released like the first song off of it, and I was like, "Holy shit, like why is this not a full-length album?" But even as an EP, it's solid through and through.
Yeah, that was a really solid EP, man. Yeah.
Thanks. But the style's like totally different on that one. I don't
It
know.
is.
It had like a different like I don't know. Even the writing style, I had like a more. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just totally different. I don't know. I was listening more maybe to Necrophages back then at that album because the 2 first, even the 3 first CDs, I didn't even know Necrophages. I remember in the studio, Yannick was like, "Man, this is like Necrophages." Like Necro who? And then we toured with them, and so I guess after Dystopia was more influenced. No, maybe during Dystopia too. Not too sure.
Just rubbed off a little bit. I remember too, man. You were listening to Obscura a lot. You would wake us up every morning with the that Obscura song, just like blasting it loud as fuck.
Yeah. But see, it's more like riffy. I don't know how to say it. It was like choppy, or not choppy riffs, but like I don't know how to describe them. But if you compare it to like Mechanics, if I was listening it to like I said earlier, and it's way more like Origin Cryptopsy style, like more like grind that I could say,
Yeah,
less like clean, like a string skipping riffs, I guess.
yeah.
It
No,
was
there are a
much
lot of those actually on there. Now that you mention it.
listening, like, man, every song is like a tremolo picked riff, like a cryptopsy style, and then there's like the origin type of a staccato, and like then I would add like the beneath like tapping stuff. So that was more like the mechanics, like really more like grindy.
Mm-hmm.
Cryptopsy, I could say, was really at that point one of Cryptopsy and Origin were like my main influences.
Okay.
But then I always wanted tapping. I guess like I don't know. I always wanted to have like that sound plus more like doodling stuff, but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, that was like my influences.
So, I guess, another thing I think about too, man, and like you guys have had what 3 full lengths and 2 EPs. For an album that's 10 years old, I mean, it still holds up easily. I mean, I still hear stuff to this day that sounds, like what you guys were doing back then, and it's just like, it's crazy to me that's you guys kind of invented that little, crazy tremolo, freaking sweet picking style with the death metal, and it's just all over the place now.
I don't know if I can say we influenced, but maybe I don't know, man.
A little bit. I don't know. It came out the same
The worst
time.
we did, like, it would be like so subtle that I couldn't say that. Like, but maybe like the riff, like the leads in the riffs a bit. Like, I don't know. But after all thing, I influenced a style. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't.
No, I think it's interesting because you guys get overlooked a little bit too much, and I think that's completely unfair because it's hard to be a band out of Canada. I mean, how many really successful bands are there from that area? And even Despise Icon had to take a break for a long time because it was just like, oh, we're from Canada. We can't really get down to America and sell records in America, and it's a lot harder.
Yeah, well, even worse having to travel the rest of the world, like coming out here as well. It's very hard. I mean, like I said, I remember finding out about you guys when this album came out, about 2007, being in high school, and I just remember this was like nothing that I'd almost ever heard.
What's the question? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just kind of commenting that it's got to be a lot harder for like you guys as a band, or when you were a band, to like kind of really break out too, because nobody really paid attention to Canada that much in a way.
For sure, what's hard for Canadian bands to tour the States is actually the work permits, because those cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's so many bands now in the States that are ready, they just need a band basically, and they're ready to play for like peanuts.
Yep.
And just to get shows out, and we were ready too, but we also had to have the work permits. But actually back then, which Prosec was really good in helping us, for our first tours. I remember they helped us quite a bit at the first, which was really good, and I thank them still to this day. Because I can see bands today that don't have any tour support at all from labels, because it's hard for the labels as well, man. There's so many bands with internet. Even back then, with Mechanics, internet it was still pretty good, but now it's not like today,
Yeah, no, it was like right on that cusp, man, like right before the internet was really super prevalent, and then like within 2 years, it was like game changer.
Yeah. But we were really lucky for the tour support, because work permits can cost I don't know, up to $3,000, man, for a whole band. It's a lot, man.
Holy crap!
If you're not doing,
oh jeez,
it can be
yeah, and what about getting do you guys have the problem too of getting merch and stuff over the border?
We were working at that point. We have working with indie merch.
Okay.
Basically. So they're really cool too. So yeah.
Yeah, because I know I mean, on the opposite side, like when we would go into Canada, they would make us declare all the merch and they would count it and,
Oh,
ask
yeah,
for like a cost and all that crazy shit.
that's where it's a hassle and all. It was more of a hassle for us coming back with the merch and all that stuff. Going in the States was not that problematic. It was coming back into Canada. Oh yeah, what have you been doing? What did you buy? Where you come back? You've been gone for 30 more days. What's in there? Oh man. Okay, go to second inspection and
Fucking second inspection. Ugh, it's the
oh
worst.
yeah. So, but nothing really bad ever happened. They would search and then I mean, Elliot was always really good dealing with that. We would all have our papers done and it would show the. He was always good at like explaining stuff where he would say just enough but not too much and
Yeah.
it's out in the clear. Not that we were doing anything wrong, but just like make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah. No, of course. The smoother, the better. That's definitely the way to go with those border crossings.
Yeah.
So I guess real quick, because we do kind of like to touch on this a little bit. What were some bands that got you into metal that made you want to start playing this kind of music and writing this kind of music?
It all started with punk rock for me, man.
Okay, yeah, we like talking about punk rock too, man.
I don't know if you want to know how I started playing guitar.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But
If you got time,
Yeah,
I would
we're all
love to
ears.
hear that.
basically, I was into hip hop when I was like 15. We would go to Justin, who was the drummer for Beneath the Massacre.
Yeah.
I would go at his place on like Tuesdays and Thursdays because his mom would go at Jehovah Witnesses meetings. So we would go there, man, hang out in the week, how teenagers do.
Yeah.
And while we were there, he would be in his punk rock band with his brother. And they would jam out, and I would be hanging out there like, man, music's cool, man, not just hip hop. I mean, I'm digging your punk rock stuff. So teach me how to play drums.
Huh.
But it turns out I'm a terrible drummer. Like my interdependence between my feet and my hands is terrible. Like that has nothing to do. And at that same point, my brother wanted to play bass. So one of my mom's friends had lent us a guitar, an electric guitar, man. And he was like, fuck that shit, I want to play bass. So it stayed in his room. So one day, man, coming back from Justin's house, I was like, oh, the electric guitar's there, man. Why not fuck around with it? So then when I go back at his place, he'd show me a riff or two, and I'd actually like pick it up pretty quickly. So one thing led to another. I was writing riffs, and then we started a punk rock band called Self Driven, which was actually like full intense fast beats.
Nice.
Yeah.
So then and then after a point, I was always trying to push my guitar playing more and more. So then I got into like the shred guitars. So I started listening to like, at that point it was like, start with Ingrid Malmsteen. And then it would be like, who else? Like Michelangelo Badio.
Oh, yeah.
And then Michael Romeo. And then who else, man?
Paul Gilbert.
Yeah, Paul Gilbert for sure. Jason Becker.
Yeah, Jason Becker.
Yes.
So those were like I'm probably forgetting a bunch of them. And then I want to incorporate that in the punk rock. Then the punk rock band didn't work out that well. And at the same time, Elliot, who's the singer Beneath the Massacre, was starting a hardcore band.
Oh, shit.
He wanted a second guitar player. I was like, no, man, I'm into the punk rock. I wanted fast stuff. They want to play like more like at that time it was like more like Earth Crisis type hardcore, like straight up hardcore for back then.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I guess I'll jam for one time. I was just supposed to jam, and then another jam, but the other guitar player was pretty good too. So then we just noodle around and start harmonizing stuff, and then I would put my input a little more, and then one like thing led to another, and it was like shred hardcore. And then we're like, fuck, man. It was called Observing the Falling Tree. Super philosophical name. It's a metaphor. And then at that point, we're like, I think we want to take it to the next level. So we're like, why not just push it? We're getting way more influence. Oh yeah, I went to the New York. What's it called? The Hellfest, I think.
Oh
And
yeah, I know the
the
Metal and Hardcore Fest.
That was I don't know how long ago. And at that fest, I bought Origin CD, man.
Ooh.
I'd never was at the Relapse booth, and I was like, man, I like this Dying Fetus CD. He's like, dude. Oh yeah, and he was like, you guys are from Montreal. You like Cryptopsy, then you're gonna like this drummer, man, Origin drummer. I was like, okay, I'll listen to it. So coming back from that fest, man, we were listening to Origin in the fucking van. We were like, holy shit, what the fuck? At first, it was too much, man. We were like, the quarterback, I was like, what the fuck, man? But
Yeah.
I just listening to the fucking CD, man, and they started influencing our riffing, and at some point we decided, okay, we're going to take this more seriously, more intense. We're going to change the band name. And then we changed the band name to Beneath the Massacre, and from then we wrote the first song from the EP, which is Regurgitated Lullaby for the Bored Dead, I think.
Oh, so that was
And
like the
that's-
first song you ever wrote with them.
For Beneath, I think it was a song of Observing the Falling Tree at some point. Then we just kept that song, scrapped all the other songs, and then went
Wow.
from. Yeah, that's the first riff. I can totally hear like the Origin staccato, before the arpeggios come in.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I am glad you told us that. I never knew that, or that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's fucked up how it came from punk rock to like technical death metal.
yeah.
Uh,
That's what I always
And which-
say, kind of like punk rock and hardcore are like the stepbrothers of metal. Like you have to include them. They influence it on both sides, you know?
I know. And what's fucked up is I came back to my roots maybe a year or two ago, and I joined a band called One Timer, which is my punk rock band, which I'm currently in. It's for fun, but yeah, man, they'll come out eventually. We've been working on our songs for so long, man. I started recording them in my studio.
Uh-huh.
And then, man, there's totally missing a second guitar on this. And they were like, well, would you mind doing it? I was like, oh, I'll check it out. I'll see. And then one night, man, I fucking ripped all my riffs on their songs, and I totally changed the whole CD. And they were like, fuck, man. And I was like, and since my roots are from punk, I'm like, why not? I'll join with you guys. They're all my friends, and we have a blast, And yeah, that's it, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you're still writing music, that's for sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure what you guys were up to because I know like kind of dropped off the map there for a little bit, and it's hard keeping in touch every now and then.
Well, to let you know, I'm at like song number 8 of Beneath the Massacre BTM 6 right now. So
Oh, really? Is that an exclusive?
it might be, man.
Shit, yeah. Yeah, man, I was actually talking to Elliot, and he was just like, man, I'm way too fucking busy, and he told me to hit you up, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, man. Like a pain in the ass. He's he's supervising, but like it's a good job, but it seems so stressful. He's like the supervisor of production line for like super high end jets.
Holy shit!
So they do all the wood side, but man, like the standards are so intense. Like seriously, like they're not even like human. Like a little like over buffed on one part, and they're like, no, send back to production, and he has to supervise all this. He has the deadlines, and man, it seems so stressful.
Ah, man, it sounds
literally.
Like it.
I mean, the job, but I mean, takes a lot of time. He does 60 hours all the time. He lives not far from my place, and I rarely see him, man.
I remember when we were up there staying with you guys. I don't know if you're still in the same place, but he lived like just straight down the road from you guys, basically.
We both moved downtown, but we still. I moved downtown maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And he moved last September. So.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, now we're right in the city. But we're still working on songs, but like. Now we do it more for fun. Back like when we started, it's really for fun. Because we did it, man, since 2007, 8. We traveled, man. That was actually my first, not my first, but my motivation when I was writing riffs.
Mm-hmm.
See, look, this is another story. When I was writing those punk rock riffs, back in my mind, I was like, man, I want to play with no effects in a festival in Europe. And that can happen in 2008 when we played the Gross Rock in Belgium with no effects and like Rise Against and all this. And I remember I was on stage. It was like fucking noon, man. We're playing in front of thousands of people, and I had this flashback from when I was sitting in my bed at night writing punk rock, Chris. It's fucking like I still remember the flashback coming back on stage. It's like, whoa, this is fucking crazy, man.
That's so cool, man, when you can have those moments like
awesome,
that.
yeah.
Just like an eye-opening, like, whoa, I can't believe I'm here now. I did this thing, and look what I got from, just working a little bit harder.
Yeah, man. That was the point, is to travel. So yeah, we did it for like over, I don't know how many years, man.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It's fun, man. Cool to be on the road. We traveled the States, I don't know, like how many times. Europe, went to Japan, Russia, a bunch of places. But at some point, man, it's because being on the road all the time, it's like there's no stability. You're always like, okay, what am I going to do when I come back? What's this? And, you can't build anything at home. You're always like, oh no, always putting the band on like the first decision. Like I had to refuse like job raises. I had to refuse jobs for touring. I remember, man, my boss's office, he's offering me this crazy raise and all this. And I'm like, okay, but we might go on tour at this day. It's already under contract. He's like, oh no, if you take the job, you can't do it. I was like, sorry, it's all under contract. He was like, and that was a super awkward moment. So I was like, can I still keep my current job? And I was like, yeah, sure. And man, he fucking, man, did not talk to me for almost 2 years like he would.
Whoa.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of sorry.
For recently, man, it's just so fucking crazy, man. It took all this time, man. Now he gained my trust.
That's good. He talks to you again.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that, how hard it is on just like the home front. Like people on kind of the outside, they think you guys just party every night and make tons of money, and couldn't be farther from the truth. Sure, there's some nights where you have some good times and party a little bit, but I mean,
you party, but man, even when we do make money, it's all reinvested in the band. The bigger the band gets, the more expenses it has. No, just going in Europe, just in plane tickets, is crazy, man. And then there's gas, and there's food, dude, name it, man. And then while you're there, you're not making like crazy money to pay rent, and then
and you guys.
And it's like, so it's fun. You're living the experiences. Like if you never done it, I would suggest doing it. But once you've been in like a foreign country over dozens of times, then like that feeling of exploring is like not there anymore.
Yeah,
Still,
definitely.
Like the fun of being on stage, that never disappears though. Like, fuck, that's always awesome to be on stage for sure.
Yeah, and
but
you guys,
once you really live the traveling part, well then at some point like stuff happens, man. See, Elliot, man, he met his girlfriend in Germany, and now she moved to Montreal. So she's been here since, I don't know. I have a Russian girlfriend I met in Moscow on our first show in Moscow, man. I met her like, I don't know what, 7 years ago, and I've been with her for 5 years now, man. It's fucking crazy. I mean, that wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have played there, man.
Isn't that amazing, dude? That's so amazing that like those people are in your
lives. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
I know, man. It's fucking insane.
I was thinking too, like you guys also have to deal with the currency exchange going back and forth too, which has got to be killer.
Dude, we were so unlucky with the currency exchange. Just before we started touring the States, I think we started touring, and then 2007, then 2008, there was like the crash. So all the U.S. money, just before that, man, making money in the States and coming back to Canada was awesome, man, because, you would make 1 point, I don't know, remember, but it would be good. And then when we went, it was like, it wasn't that good at all. Our first tour in the UK was great, man, because the money was like, dude, selling one T-shirt was like, the profit was amazing. But that only lasted for the first one. It was like, we were so unlucky with the currency exchanges. It was like, fuck.
That's rough.
A few years earlier, we would have made like would have been a lot easier for that. But I mean, whatever can you do?
Yeah, I mean, money's weird in general. That weird construct.
Man, if you quit for money, man, forget about it.
So, I was gonna ask something you touched on earlier. You were talking about Justin being a drummer in a punk rock band, and it's crazy to me that like he is such an insanely fast drummer that I can't believe he just started out playing punk rock and then like just went straight to death metal drumming.
Well, it wasn't straight, but Justin is super musical, like kind of guy, man. He can play any instrument, like he catches it super fast, and he's actually the one that taught me how to play guitar. That's crazy, man. Our drummer taught me how to play guitar, man.
That is crazy, especially like did he teach you how to like do all the arpeggios, or did you just kind of learn that from watching the virtuoso guitar players?
No, well, that was more my influence when I started listening to the shredders. It was like,
Okay.
fuck, what the fuck's this shit, man? Remember the first time I saw like string skipping tapping? I was like, what the fuck? You can do tapping on more than one string, man. What the fuck, man? Then string skipping arpeggios was like, fuck, man. Now guitar players, it's like the shred came back in the scene, but man, the shred guitar died for a while, man. Like,
Yeah, no, it really did actually. That's what I was kind of saying is like I feel like you guys just kind of reinvigorated it, just a little bit. You had a hand in it. I think so, anyways.
We were talking about that the other day. About how bands like Animals as Leaders and like Scale the Summit and all that, like they've really made like a comeback, for it.
Well, man, like Tosin from Animals as Leader, I remember him. He would come like at the Masquerade in Atlanta when Animals as Leader didn't really exist yet.
Yeah.
He'd come with his 8 guitar and show me some licks. And actually, one song, which one is it? The last song off. What song is it? Wait. The last song off Incongruous. What is it called again?
Oh man, yeah, it's
Wait.
blanking myself.
Dude, I'm so bad with names, man. I can't wait on my computer.
Yeah, let's see if we can Google it the fastest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to Google it, nothing's coming up.
Unheard, the last one, he's the one that showed me that guitar scale. I don't even know what the fuck that guitar scale is named, man. But that tapping at the beginning, and actually the whole riffs were one of the scale. We were just noodling around. He showed me. I was like, that's cool, man. And I wrote back like in 2012, man. I think it was on the actual what tour was that? It was like maybe a Summer Slaughter with. I think he was filling in for Born of Osiris at that point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it the song Unheard?
Yeah, exactly. Unheard. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. That's the last one of Incongruous. So yeah, thanks Tosin for that.
That's crazy. Damn, dude, I feel like I learned like a ton of cool shit about all these records now.
But I made all this up, so it's not that important.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
it's fine. Just pull it out of your ass. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all alternative facts.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, shit, man. Is there anything else you want to let us know about or regale us with one last story before we go?
You want to hear a sample of the new shit?
Yeah, we do.
I hope it. I don't know how it's gonna come out.
Good Lord. It sounded really fuzzy on our end.
Well, that's it, man. What can I say?
Yeah, dude, if you want to send me like a little 10-second clip, I can just cut it into the episode for people to hear or whatever.
Okay.
If you want to do that.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, you guys all heard like.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
amazing
much.
from my point of view.
Yeah, it was a little staticky. It was hard to hear, but yeah, I would love for people to hear just a little bit of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that.
And
Yeah, from what I could make out, that was next level.
thanks, I guess. But I mean, maybe it was just the interference. I don't know. But what I could add is like we are working on stuff, but we're taking it more like I said, for fun. I play guitar regularly. We will make other shows eventually. Like
Cool.
we have broken up. But it's more like we do it for ourselves, and we'll see after that, man. Maybe we will make a run, a more serious run out of it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm just glad you guys are still doing something. That warms my heart to hear it, because you guys were always cool as fuck. I enjoyed sharing the road with you and staying at your house. So it's good to hear you guys are still doing stuff.
We'd always did it for fun, which was one good thing with us is that we were all super close friends, even before we started. Like the bassist is my brother.
Yeah.
Elliot, I've been friends with him since he was 2 years old, since he was born, basically.
Oh.
And the drummer, like I said, since we were teens, who showed us all basically how to play music. So it's fucked up, man. So that's what's tough about starting a band, is not just being on the same musical level, but also being on the same wanting to play the same type of music, but also getting along with the people, man. Fuck the whole part of touring. Like 99%, you're in a van with these dudes. So, I mean, if you can't get along with it, you're having a bad time. So we were lucky on that point, man. It was all good friends.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be like very hard. Just, I mean, I know it's hard just living in a van with like 5 other dudes.
Yeah, man. I mean, and even when it's your best friends, little things can get on your fucking nerves after, all these, if it's not snoring or little habits. But I mean, that's why it's important that you're good friends, man.
Yeah.
Or else it's the whole fucking process like a nightmare.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, dude, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you doing this. And it's, like I said, it's fucking awesome to hear you guys are working on stuff still.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I talk to myself in the third person, us.
Fair enough. You got other people in there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank
And,
you.
No worries, mate.
I'll let you know when if something comes up closer to a CD, or can maybe have another talk when the CD comes out or something.
Yeah, Yeah, we're totally down.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Cool, man. Looking forward to it.
All right. Yeah, I'll let you know when this goes up. It'll be probably about a week from now. So I'll just send you the links and everything, and you can share them out in the social media stuff.
Cool. So you can edit it. Everything I say that sounds dumb, cut that shit out. Make my voice maybe like 2 semitones lower, so I sound like more manly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mate, we're on it. Don't worry. We got you covered. Don't worry about it.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, of course, man. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right. Take care.
All right.
Take care, mate.
Okay, bye.
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 Be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes!